Warning, this podcast is intended for consenting adults. We're talking about all things non-monogamy, which means some of our conversations are going to get down and dirty. Please know we are not professionals, and these are strictly our views and opinions and in no way represent the opinions of our employers. We respect others' opinions as we know everyone in the world of non-monogamy does it differently. Hope you enjoy. Hello, my salacious friends, and welcome to Pinky and Ava's Pajama Party. I'm your host, Ava Moore, and as always, I'm here with my soul sister, Pinky Grayman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. We have a guest at the Pajama Party.
Yeah.
And she was a guest on 3 Shades Deeper. And we're super excited to have her back, Elizabeth Cunningham. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so excited to be here. At the pajama party. I brought my chocolate and tea and everything.
Oh my God, I
Those
love that.
Necessities for a pajama party.
Yeah, exactly. I did bring popcorn too, and then I was like, oh, that's probably bad for a podcast, isn't it? So I won't. But I did make popcorn.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I'm in the spirit. I'm in the pajama party spirit. Let's go.
That's right. We need our fuzzy slippers and, all that kind of good stuff.
Mm-hmm,
I am jealous because I am never jealous. Well, occasionally it can happen. I'm not denying I'm a human, but I've never had sleepovers. It was prohibited in my birth country. Like it was just unheard of. And I remember one time I sneaked in and stayed over at my girlfriend's house for until midnight or 1 o'clock with 2 of our male friends. And we thought we were sneaking something because we were drinking wine. She was so smart. She put it under the sink. So her mom in the morning got up and she's like, "What were you doing last night? Why is the wine underneath the sink?" She thought she was hiding. She's like, we were 15, right? And it was cute. It was really nice. So I've never had it. So I am really enjoying reliving it. I mean, not reliving, expanding it now and just
making up for lost time.
Definitely.
By having lots of sleepovers and pajama parties now.
Yeah, definitely.
So Elizabeth, like I said, she joined us on our 3 Shades Deeper segment. And why don't you remind us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to dive into our topic for this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a relationship coach, and I have degrees in gender and sexuality, political science, and with an emphasis in religion. And so I studied the intersectionality of how politics and religion impact gender and sexuality. And from there, also became interested in because I've always been interested in, how people relate to each other and why do people do what they want to do. And I really got interested in what makes people happy, which is relationships. And so with that in mind, have been studying, training. I've been a coach since 2016. And I've been a coach for polyamorous people and queer people, LGBTQIA plus people since 2017. And I also have a certification program. So not only do I coach people in relationships, but I also certify other queer and polyam relationship coaches.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as everyone knows, on the pajama party, we get a little down and dirty. So tonight's down and dirty topic is eroticism and pleasure, and how we as women can get what we want. And I think we're all learning to ask for what we want in a much better way than we did in the past. But why don't you explain to us a little bit about eroticism and pleasure, and then we could take it from there.
Yeah, great place to start. So eroticism is not just about sex. So sex is eroticism is this massive umbrella, right? And probably pleasure is the massive umbrella above eroticism.
Okay.
And so, because like pleasure can encompass, pleasure doesn't have to be erotic. Pleasure can be like, you know, I had a really nice walk today. That was very pleasureful. Although walks can be erotic for some people.
Pinky.
Well, I actually make love to my flowers. You know, I go around, I take
There
pictures.
you go.
So it's extremely
Yeah.
pleasurable seeing and finally seeing and feeling the spring coming and seeing
Mm.
the birth of the new season in flowers. Yes. So totally
Yeah, totally.
eroticizing that beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that can be like drinking a cup of coffee for one person can be pleasurable, but drinking a cup of coffee for another person could be pleasurable and erotic as well. Right.
Interesting.
So yeah. So, and we'll get into, I mean, oh my God, like eroticism is like my jam. So like what I didn't say in my introduction is that, yeah, I'm also just like, oh my God. I like one of the things that I love learning about with sexuality and attraction and eroticism is just like that it's this whole world, right? Like I had a mentor at one point who was like, you know, how people think about their sex lives is like going to their local supermarket. Like you know what's there. You also know what's there that you don't want as well.
Yep.
But you only know it in the context of your local supermarket. Like, you know that you like potatoes and steak and broccoli and potato chips, and you know that you don't like kale and like, you know, TV dinners and all this. So there's like, but you know it within the context of what you already know, where eroticism is like going to a world market where it's like there is stuff there that you didn't even know existed. Like you didn't even know that you could ask for it. You didn't even know. Like that's eroticism, right? And thank you.
Pinky's beaming.
So like that's eroticism. It's like the world market. Like you didn't even know what you didn't even know about like sexuality and pleasure and what turns you on and what's erotic for you, because it's different for every single person, right? And like we know that, like conceptually we know that, but then when we have struggles in our erotic lives, then we forget that. We're like, oh no, we must be incompatible. And it's like, no, we just have an idea of, and maybe even not even like a, because like our eroticism is so deep that it is unspeakable. Like we don't actually have the proper language for how we feel as erotic beings, which is one of the reasons why it's, number one, hard to even know what we like, because it's hard for even us individually to name what we like sometimes. So how can you ask for something that you don't even know how to name, right? And then when even if we do know how to name it, then there's the next hurdle of like, how do I even say this out loud to my person or my people, or like, what are they going to think about me? Am I weird for thinking this? And I'm even thinking of a partner of mine who like our relationship has been like kink BDSM based, like almost since the very beginning. And we've been together, known each other for what, 8 or 9 years now? Is this, we're at 8.5. I think we're going on year 9.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like at, I think it was at year, 4 or 5. So like pretty decently far into our relationship, they brought something up to me where they were like, I've never been able to say this to you because I feel like, and I won't use the verbiage that they use because I don't want to like create something that's unnecessary for right now, but they had a hard time saying that thing to me, even though we'd been playing in this very kinky BDSM space for like 4 or 5 years at that point, right? And so there is So to summarize here is that eroticism is so vast and so deep, and it is so beautiful, yet it is so unknown to even our own selves, that then it makes that hard to, verbalize to ourselves. And then there's all these other layers on top of verbalizing it to other people, even the people that we love and trust, like, without question. So there's so much here, and it's so juicy. And the other thing that I want to create, and then I'll stop talking for a second, but the other thing that I want to create too is that when you do hit these peaks of like being able to know what you want and say what you want, it is so deliciously satisfying.
Yeah.
And the other part of that too, that I want to, because I can hear some people being like, yeah, but what if you say it and they, you get rejected or whatever. And it's like, I hear that, I get that. And what if you could have the inner sense, the inner wisdom, the inner confidence, the inner person who was like, no matter what anybody says about this, like, this is mine and it's beautiful.
You own it no matter what.
You own it. You own it no matter what. I say that about like polyamory. For me, is one of those things where it's like, you can say whatever you want to me about polyamory. Like, it doesn't even bother me. I'm just like, people say crazy things to me about polyamory, and I'm just like, okay.
Right. Well, it's funny. You were talking about, how we always shopped at the local supermarket, and then there's this world market out there. I feel like once I always shopped at the local supermarket. And then once I entered non-monogamy, I started peeking into the world market. And after 6 years, I feel like I've taken a step into the world market, but I know there's so much more, right, that I haven't explored. And how do you suggest to people going about taking the next step to find out what those things are, those erotic things are that they haven't yet explored, and to see what they're interested in?
That's a great question. I'm going to offer two forks in the road here. One is that you could start looking up different expressions of eroticism. One of the courses that I've taken is inside of the Erotic blueprints. And that is a really great place to start to explore different types of eroticism. The Erotic blueprints are kind of like and I know that this is a bad word now, but are like the love languages of eroticism, right? Where it's just like, but it's basically like a way to think about eroticism that is easier than being like, oh my God, a world market, like how the heck? Right. So like looking at in the Erotic blueprint framework, there are 5 types of eroticism, or not 5 types of eroticism, but 5 types of like erotic ways of being, right? And that is energetic, sensual, sexual, and kinky, and shapeshifter. They have a book, they have a course, you can Google it, you can take the quiz.
Wow.
So that's a really great place to start. That's a really, really great resource. If you want to go the route of just like looking, like researching, right? Different types of eroticism. You can also start with, this is the other fork in the road, begin by noticing what brings you pleasure and what turns you on. Like, start with you and just start to notice, like, I know for myself, I'm literally sitting here. I have this fuzzy blanket on. I have a fuzzy overlay here. I have my chocolate. I have my tea. I have the fire going in the background. Things that bring me pleasure are very sensual. So if I were just starting, I could just start to notice like, oh, what I really love, what really brings me pleasure are like fuzzy blankets. Like notice when you're being erotic or playful or having sexy spicy time with your person or people. Notice the things that turn you on and notice the things that turn you off and get really specific about it. Like it turns me on when the right song is on.
That's so true.
Right?
The environment is so important.
The environment. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. It turns me off when the temperature in the room is too cold.
Right.
It turns me off when people are too sweaty. It turns me on when people are too sweaty, right? Like notice what works. It turns me on when my partner's not even touching at me. They're just looking at me. It turns me on, like just start to notice and then start to vocalize it. I think when we think about like saying what we want, we have some sort of idea that there's like something else that we need to say. Like we need to figure out what we want when we could actually just look at what's already working and what's already not working and start there. Right? Like what's already working for me is that you start really slow and you kiss down my whole body and you take off my clothes one layer at a time and my body just like aches with anticipation. That is really working for me. And what's really not working for me is that you do that right before we have to go to bed and I'm fucking tired.
Yep.
Yes.
And I don't want you to turn me on right now. I wanted you to turn me on when you got home from work before we had dinner, when I had energy.
Yes.
Like, stop trying to turn me on at 11 o'clock at night. I have shit to do tomorrow. I am now not turned on. Even though I love what's happening right now, I absolutely hate this because now all I'm thinking about is how much shit I have to do tomorrow. And I'm not able to like be here in the moment with you, even though you're being so sexy and perfect and I love you so much.
I love that. I actually was talking about that with hubby, that we actually have to schedule time. There's like two stories, two ways of going around. Like I'm listening to podcasts and whatever, and they say, do schedule your time together. And the other one's just be spontaneous, because when you schedule, it's like can throw you off, whatever your desire. And I'm like, with our schedules, it's impossible to be spontaneous sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I had a coach who said, schedule your spontaneity.
Oh, I like that.
That's great. Yeah.
And at first it sounds kind of counterintuitive. You're like, what? Like, what do you mean schedule spontaneity? It's like, no, put time on the calendar and just leave that time open. Be like, nothing goes in here. And then when we get to 4 p.m. on Thursday, whatever the fuck we want to do. Like that's what that time is for. Whatever the fuck we want to do at 4 p.m. on Thursday until 8 p.m. on Thursday. Right? Like that's our spontaneous time. And if we end up having like a raunchy 4-hour session, like hell yeah. If we end up like smelling candles at our favorite like little fun stuff store downtown, great. If we find random tickets, perfect. If we go to the park, great. Whatever. But like schedule your spontaneity.
I like
that.
You
really do need to make time like that a priority, because it's easy for it to slip away. I know if I don't and I'm a single mom. So sometimes if I don't book it 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance, it's
Mhm.
not going to happen for a
Mhm.
very long time because there's other things that get on the calendar and get in the way.
It's like, would you rather have something get done, or would you rather have it continue to be a good idea?
Mhm.
Get done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also liked that you said, let's have the fun time before dinner. I do not like
Uh-huh.
sex. I don't like, okay. I don't like to be intimately involved. It does not have to be sex in any way, shape, or form when my stomach is full. It just
Mm-mm.
does not turn me on. So I always
Mm-mm.
like to have dessert before dinner.
So then you have to verbalize that to your partners. Be
I
like,
have. They all
listen.
know. They all know. I already trained them. They know.
Well, that's what it's funny that you say that about training too, because like the more that you speak up for what you want, your partners want to know. Like this whole like they should know thing drives me absolutely bananas.
It's impossible to
How
really
would they
just
know?
Nobody,
know.
you can't read your partner's mind. They can't read your mind. And this is the thing. If you give them the manual, then everyone's happy.
Mhm.
Like if
Mhm.
you give them, the Pinky manual, the Ava manual, it's like, here you go. This is what makes me happy. Now go do that. And then they get to be happy because they're like, great, now I know how to make you happy. That's exactly what I want to do. I will go do those things. Right. And if they're not doing those things, then that's a different conversation. It's like, hey, I told you what makes you asked. You said, I want to know what makes you happy. I told you this is what makes me happy. You're not doing the things that make me happy. Why is that? What's good? And that's a conversation, right? But yeah, like giving them the manual, because you're training your partners all the time. And it's funny, Pinky, that you said that, because all of my partners know about me that I need food. Like
Food makes you happy.
food makes me so happy. Food makes me, I don't know if it's the Taurus in me, I don't know what it is, but like if all of my partners, and even like most of my like really good friends will schedule things for me, or with me rather, around food,
Mhm.
because they know that I like that. And they also know that I'm a much more pleasant person if I have had food. So it's for everyone's benefit, really, that Elizabeth has been fed with food. What was the other thing? Oh, funny story about that too, is that so one of my best friends, this last summer told another, I just learned about this conversation because I wasn't there for this. But but one of my best friends told another friend of mine who, like, we've been like starting to hang out more or whatever, and I kind of like introduced him to like our friend group, right? And so my best friend told him, because he was like, oh, I've really been trying to like hang out with Elizabeth more, and she's kind of a hard person to like get a hold of, which is true about me. I'm trying to get better about that. Anyways, he's like, yeah, I've been trying to schedule stuff with, her more or whatever. And my best friend tells him, you just have to tell Elizabeth that you're going to give her dinner and she'll show up.
And they move
That's
up the
funny.
priority list significantly in that
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
right?
So then he reaches out to me and he's like, hey, if I buy us dinner, will you come over and hang out? And I was like, yeah. And I had no idea that they had this conversation. And he texts me, he's like, hey, you should come over. I'll buy us dinner. Like, we'll have takeout. Do you like Thai food? And I was like, oh, heck yeah, I love Thai food. I was like, oh, you want to buy me dinner? Okay, like, I'll come over. And he was like, see, it worked. And I was just like, well, I'm glad that I'm that predictable. That's great.
They all know.
They all know. That
Right.
absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think food is important, but there's so many nights when we get together with my partners that I the food is not like ending. like becoming a priority afterwards, because it's like so many hours of just like us being in our world, and then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, look at the time, oh my god, I
Mm-hmm.
don't eat at that time. I mean, they can
Yeah.
eat, but whatever. It's just like it's turning into this idea of like, I love food, but
Mm-hmm.
there's so much
She loves sex more.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. I was like, how can I say that? Thank you. Thank you, Ava.
You're
You know
welcome.
me well.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intimacy. It's not sex. It's sex, intimacy, evolvement and growth and understanding what I really like and how to
Mm.
say it. Before, I mean, you probably know, maybe not, but I was hiding under the sheets when my husband and I met. Literally, he would go down on me and he would ask me, how do you like it? And I would hide because I just didn't know how to say it and I was ashamed. And
Mm.
he was like, am I doing okay? I'm like, oh my God. In my mind, I'm like, you are down there. You're doing great. You know, he was not doing great. I didn't even know what I want, what I like, and how I like it.
Right.
I was just
Right.
so happy that he was there because the culture that I come, men don't go down, you know? And
Mm.
in the person who I was with of 17 years, it was just so infrequent. Our sex life was not existent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh my God, it's sunny. The sun is shining. Yes. So yeah.
She has evolved in terms of what she asking what she wants
Mm-hmm.
significantly
Thank
from
you.
to the point where she didn't want to ask. She didn't know what to ask. She didn't know how to ask to now it's like, she'll beat you over the head if you don't spend enough time, eating
No,
her
it's
pussy.
not true. It's not true. Actually,
It's true. It's true. It's true.
It's one of my partners is it's not his like forte, like likes it, whatever he does it, nibbles, whatever, and I'm learning how to learning together how to be comfortable in the places where I want something and I don't want to push, but I want to acknowledge, I want to respect, and I wanted to build on
Mhm.
it. I don't know if it makes
Yeah.
sense or not.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question to you is, do y'all talk about what works and what doesn't work when you're not being intimate, or do you only talk about it like during intimacy?
Right. We need to talk more about it. Not at the time, but
Yeah.
other time. We have to schedule time to talk, and we actually
Yeah.
have been talking about that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, do you have regular check-ins with your partner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you talk about it at your
Yes.
regularly scheduled check-in time?
Yes. We have to be better about that.
Okay, you have to be better about that. Are you going to do that?
I am. I actually gave him an assignment to write down his feelings and come back to me. And he was all fuzzy about it. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, great. No, that's it. I mean, that's a really good start, starting with talking about your feelings. And I think that's like one of the things that I see with people is that you're trying to have conversations about intimacy during intimate, and I'm just using the word intimacy. So like, yeah, broad broad strokes on that. But yeah, like it it is more productive to have conversations. It's harder because it's a little bit taboo to have conversations about intimacy when you're not being intimate. Can be taboo. For some people it's like, oh yeah, no problem, but for some people it's like, oh my god, I don't even know how to bring up this conversation. It's really like shame comes up or embarrassment comes up or even humiliation comes up. Like that's real, like that's so real. And so so anybody who's listening to this, like I just really want to normalize, like if you're in that camp, like it's totally normal to like have so many like uh really strong and charged emotions around even talking about intimacy, outside of being intimate. And one of the ways that you can kind of begin to broach that is, well, first of all, just like meeting yourself where you're at. Like, are there, maybe you don't, if you're really like feeling um ashamed about talking about intimacy, maybe don't start talking about your wants around intimacy. Maybe start talking about your wants in an area of your relationship that you don't feel that shame around, right? Like maybe it is around like scheduling. Maybe it is around like spending more time together. Maybe it's around like the other activities that you do. Like, you know what I'd really like to do this spring? Like, I live in Seattle, so it's like there's tulip season. And so it's like, oh, you know what I'd really like to do this spring is I'd really like to go to a tulip farm. Can we put it on the calendar right now? So taking something that's easy to talk about and then making it happen, right? I'd really like to go to the tulip farm. Can you pull up your phone and can we schedule that right now? And that's a really big step, even though it's not about intimacy necessarily. Although if tulips turn you on, fantastic. I love that. But like that is a step in the direction of you training yourself, training your own brain, and giving your brain evidence that you can not only say what you want, but you can get a positive response from your partner and you can then make that thing happen. Right? So it's the higher level sequence of events. I want this thing. I stated that I wanted the thing. I asked directly for that thing. I got a positive response. We put it on the calendar. It actually happened. Now your brain is like, oh, I can ask for what I want and also get a positive response and also get what I want. Though this is possible for me, right? Even though it's not about intimacy, right? But the next hurdle then is, because your brain loves to make excuses when we get scared about things, and being ashamed about something is really scary. It's so scary. And so the next excuse that your brain is going to come up with is, okay, I can get what I want here, but I can't get what I want here.
Sure.
And so I just want to challenge you on that, dear humans, dear lovelies. I want to challenge you on that a little bit because you don't actually know. Like, so part of this taking down these hurdles is taking away the absolutes of the hurdles. Right? So like, oh, but I can't get it here. Well, how do I know that? Is that really true? Do I know for an absolute fact that that's absolutely true?
Yeah, if you don't ask,
Not at all.
you don't know. And I always say there's no harm in asking.
Right. And I know that there's so many different like personal stories that I'm like thinking of with like clients over the years. But you really do, like, starting with the things that are a little bit lower stakes can really help start the ball rolling on these things. And it might take some time, like it might, from the time that you ask about the tulips to the time that you tell them that you really want to start learning about shibari, like there might be quite a bit of time in between those two things.
Yeah.
But really just like working with yourself and working with your own nervous system. And I'm telling myself this as much as I'm telling anyone else this, because I kind of have the opposite problem sometimes where I like jump into things that I'm like, oh, it would be really great, shibari. And it's just like, Elizabeth, what do you even know about shibari? Like, do you even know? And now I do. Like this is like Elizabeth, several years ago. Like, but even at the time, I was just like, oh, jumping into something where it's just like, you know what? There's safety protocols that you need to know about,
Sure.
dear friend. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. But anyway, starting with things that that feel lower stakes.
And then kind of building up.
Yeah, and then building up over
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
I have a question. Navigating fear or rejection when expressing desires, like how do you what if you're presenting yourself and you open and raw? I always say that. That's my favorite quote, open and raw, and somebody just not able to to give you what you want at that moment. Do you have any recommendations how to go around and with somebody who you love?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different things here. So starting with you first, that's kind of my biggest coaching philosophy is it all starts with you, right? Like understanding that when you open yourself up to be vulnerable, you do open up the possibility to get hurt, even unintentionally, right? Like even if your partner has like the best intentions, like when you're being vulnerable, there's still a possibility that you may get hurt. So some things that you can start with you is telling yourself that you're going to be okay, right? Like starting to build your own fortification is not the right word because that kind of like brings up the image of like building walls, and that's not what I want here. I want pathways, not walls. But it's more like,
is it self-esteem?
Yeah, like self-esteem, self-confidence, where it's just like, even if this person doesn't respond in the way that I want them to, and it's not like you won't be hurt in the moment. Like it's not alleviating the hurt necessarily, but it's like even if I get hurt, I will still be okay. Why? Why will I still be okay? I'll still be okay because I will be proud of myself for having this is how I see it. So maybe you could put your own words to it. But how I see it for myself personally is I feel really good. I feel in integrity with myself when I ask for what I want. I'm like, good job, Elizabeth. You did it. Like you said the hard thing and you really do want that thing. You really do want that thing. You really do feel that way. And then you asked for it. Is it hurtful that they said no to that thing? Is it hurtful that they responded in the way that they did? Yes, it is. Yes, it is very hurtful. And you said it. I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so proud of you for saying that. Like, that was really brave. That was really courageous. And so starting to give yourself and practice like that self-talk and framing it like again, for me, it's integrity. Like, and that's a really big value of mine. So that's why I frame it that way. But maybe a value for you is connection. And that's another value for me too. But maybe that's higher on your list. Like connection is a huge value for you. And so it's like, good job, Josie. I don't know. Good job, Josie. Like, this is your own self-talk. Good job, Josie. Like, you really value connection and you opened up your heart to connect with this person that you love. And that's what you're on this planet for. You're on this planet to connect with people, and you took a step forward. They didn't want to take a step forward with you. That really hurts. That really sucks. I'm having a lot of self-compassion and like giving myself a lot of internal hugs for that. And you step forward on this path of connection, and I'm so friggin' proud of you for doing that. Good for you for doing all the internal work to get here. You are a rock star. It's okay. Like, you are okay, and you did what you knew that you needed to do for your best interest, and you fucking rock.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So what happens, let's say I'm ready to step up my journey into eroticism, right? And I want to move quicker than my partner in terms of exploring. Are there exercises we could do together? How can I encourage my partner to explore when they're not necessarily as excited about exploring as I am?
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. I love it. And that is, and okay, like first of all, I got really excited. But I also want to acknowledge that is really difficult. And this is also something that happens just in non-monogamy in general. But yeah, keeping it to the realm of eroticism. I want you to play a game.
Fun.
That's what I
Love
want.
it.
That's what I want you to do. And so how this game is going to go, I'm going to give you the outline, and then you're going to fill in the blank with your partner. You're going to fill in the blanks with your partner.
Okay.
So how this game is going to go is that you're going to set a it's like a science experiment. Like you can think about it as a game, or you can think about it as a science experiment. So whatever sounds more yummy to you. So you're going to talk about what is the outcome that you want of this game. And then what do you want to experiment with inside of the game? So let's say that the thing that you really want is, trying to think of something off the top of my head. Let's say the thing that you really want is that. Actually, Ava, do you have an example of like something that like you either you or just an example in general of just like this is a thing that would be the outcome, but the one person is like, I'm not sure about it.
Like, I always encourage, and my partners are always hesitant about tying me up and having sex. Like,
Okay.
I want to be tied up.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get them to take that leap?
Ooh, I love this game. This is a great game. Okay. So, first of all, thank you for giving me something tangible, because I was going to make something up, and this is perfect. So, the intended outcome is that you get to be tied up, and everyone gets to have a good time.
Of course.
Right. So, what would and this is a question that you don't necessarily have to answer right now. This is a question that you would like pose to your partners. Mm-hmm. So, what would feel good headed in this trajectory of Ava gets to be tied up and everyone gets to have a good time? Like, so what is the first step that you could take and experiment with for that to be on the table? And maybe that's something like I also had a partner at one point who was very hesitant about bondage, and I also very much love being tied up. And he was interested in making me happy. And okay. So, yeah. And so he was like, I will play with this. But his biggest fear was that something would happen, and then the restraints would then become hazardous in some way, right? So what we did was we took scarves and we very lightly tied my wrists with scarves, and then tied the other part of the scarf to the bed. And if I tugged too hard, it would unravel. Right. So
like built-in safety for them.
Yeah. So it was like, so they were like, okay, if Elizabeth needs to get out and can't verbalize it for whatever reason, she can without needing me for that. Mm-hmm. And did that fulfill that fantasy fully for me? No. But was it a great compromise? And was I super happy that we were on this path? 100%.
Sure.
Right? So it's like that was the first part of the game. And so we ended up like breaking up a little while later. That had nothing to do with, being tied up at all. But we never really kind of completed that game. But that was kind of the beginning of the game, right? So that would be the next. So then the next step would be to do the first iteration of it and then have a conversation about it. How did that go? What really worked for you? What didn't work for you? What did you love about that? What can we take forward? What can we do moving forward? What are we going to leave in the past? Right? And then create the next iteration of the game. Right?
So increasing the intensity or getting closer to what you want each time.
Exactly. And and that you can compromise, you can negotiate every single time. Right. And so it's just like, or you can set, sometimes it works to set time limits around it too, where it's like, we're going to play this game this way for the next 3 months. So there's no pressure on the person who wants to go slower for 3 months. Right? Like they don't have to think like, oh, Ava would really like me to be doing more than this. Like they're like, no, this is, and that's the thing about that is that settles people's nervous system, because it all comes back to our nervous systems, right? And especially when one person wants to go slower, yes, it's around like stories and beliefs and emotions, etc., but it's very much tied to like nervous system work and steadily moving forward. And so if you create a safe container for several months, what that's going to do for that person's nervous system is calm their nervous system and have things be familiar for that 3-month period and normalize it as well. Like their nervous system is going to be able to acclimate to whatever level of intensity you brought it up to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then in the next maybe 3 months, and I'm just using 3 months as an example, like this could be a week, this could be 6 months, whatever. So then the next 3-month cycle, now you raise it up a little bit. It's like, okay, maybe instead of scarves, we're going to use silk ropes.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, and then maybe the 3 months after that, it's like, okay, now we're going to use shibari ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe after that, it's like, maybe you move on to fuzzy handcuffs. It's like, okay, we got some metal in there. All right. Okay. It's been a year of moving things up slowly but surely, but now we've incorporated some like actual like tick 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 like little machinery a little bit in here. So that's kinky and fun. So it's just like when someone's going slower, it just means that their nervous system needs longer to acclimate to what you're doing, and that you can slowly continue to move things up. And the other thing about that too is that you might hit a ceiling with that person, maybe at the fuzzy handcuffs, they're like, I'm actually unwilling to move further than fuzzy handcuffs. This is where I stop. This is where I get off the ride. Fuzzy handcuffs is where I get off the ride, and it's like, okay, like, and then that's up to you at that point to be like, all right, how do I feel about, I am still getting my request of being tied up.
Right.
I would like for it to be chains. But
I would like for it to be chains.
I would. Oh my God, chains are just like so delicious. It's so great. Along with being sensual, I'm extremely kinky as well.
You just put me another step into that grocery store, because I was always thinking rope, never chains. So now that's on my brain.
Oh my God, do you know what is okay? Total tangent, but like I knew that I liked chains. right? Because I had fantasized about chains. And then I went to this event, and this woman, oh my God, I can't, oh God, I just, even thinking about it, I'm like, it's so delicious. This woman was giving a demonstration about restraints and teasing with restraints too. And like she had her subject on this table, and like what she was doing was she was testing different restraints out, and then she was asking the person she was tying up how pleasurable or not pleasurable it was.
I want to be that person. But anyway, continue.
Right. And one of the times that she did it, she had these chains on the table, and what she did was that she grabbed one part of the chain and she slowly pulled it off of the demonstration table so that you could hear every single link hit the table. Oh my, I'm like literally getting hot thinking about like you could hear every single link hit the table, and then once it got far enough off the table, then you heard this thunk of the rest of the chains on the floor. And the person who was like the demo person or whatever was blindfolded, so all they could the sensation was the listening, listening to the chains, right? The sound of the chains.
That's amazing.
And, oh my God.
I have rush on my skin.
Pinky's ready to run, and I need a cold shower now. Like,
I know. I'm getting turned on just telling you this.
That's amazing.
Right. And then she went over to the table. She walked slowly over to the table. So then you're hearing the chains on the floor, and then walked over to the table and started to not tie them up, but just took the chains across the person's chest.
Ooh.
And just started to pull the chain across their chest. So now they can feel the chain on their skin, but they're still not getting tied up with the chain.
The anticipation.
Yes. Oh, the anticipation of it. I was just like, oh my God, I want to be this person so bad.
Note to my partners who are listening. Let's try that.
But and I'm really glad that we're talking about this too, because that's where you can get really creative, because it's like, okay, it's like, maybe Ava, like, I'm not comfortable tying you up, but I am comfortable doing sensation play with ropes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Pinky. Go.
Oh, no. You're continuing. I was just getting excited.
Yeah.
She'll do sensation. She doesn't want to be tied down, but you can drag those ropes all over.
Oh my God.
Right,
oh my God.
Totally.
The best orgasm for hours after Shibari experience with a rope on my breast, on my clit for an hour and a half. Oh my God. You see? I'm not running away.
No, I had you just want to be tied down, right?
I mean,
right.
I was telling hubby, like, you can tie me down, and when I want him to do like this harness, in my back, and just like grab it from the back and just fuck the shit out of me from the back.
God,
I
so
want
good.
that. I want it's a piece of art. I'm an artist, right? So it's a creative arts that goes on my body design wise, but not to the point where I cannot move. There's something about movement that I cannot be tamed down. I don't know, tied down.
I don't want to move. That's the point. Right.
Well, and that's, the other part of that too, Ava, is that can you be restrained in a way where you're not necessarily tied down? Like, for example, what if, your partner had rope in their hand and used the rope where they like let's say they're like sitting on top of you.
Yep.
And then they have the rope and they put the rope like across your chest and your arms so that they're pinning you down with the rope, but it's not tied.
Right. So they feel like they could release me if they needed to.
Right.
So I would be game.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, but this is perfect, right? So this is a part of, this would be a part of like the negotiation process.
Sure.
It's like, okay, you want to be tied down. I don't feel comfortable because of this. Okay, well, what is the compromise? Like, what could we do? Like, this is the creative part of eroticism, right? Or I'll use a different example too, because I want to also include people who are more energetic, because what we've been talking about so far has been along the lines of like, we've touched on kink, we've touched on sensuality, we've definitely touched on sex here for sure. But I want to talk to the people who are more energetic, like my people who are more like tantra, energetic orgasms, just like feeling each other's presence, who maybe like, yeah.
He's jumping up and down.
Yay. Okay. I want
Good, talk to Pinky.
Yeah. All right. So like, one of the things that is difficult for people who are more energetic is that some of the things that turn you on seem, what's the word that I want to use? Like, might even seem even more weird than kink things for people.
Well, for
right?
me, people who speak about energy and things like that, prior to meeting Pinky, I thought it was weird, and it was so abstract that I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why energetic eroticism is can be one of the things that causes the most tension, because it is very misunderstood and it's hard to explain. Like, kink can be misunderstood, but it's a little bit easier to explain because it's a lot more tactile, right?
Sure.
Where it's like, I want to be tied up. Like, people might misunderstand like why you want that, or think that you're weird for thinking that, but they understand what it means to be tied up. Where someone who is like, yeah, more energetic, who's like, I want you to stare at me until I have an orgasm. It's like, what are you saying to me? What do you mean you want me to stare at you until I have an orgasm? Like, how, like, you mean you just want me to stand here? Like, what are you talking about? Right.
Now Pinky's having an orgasm for
Yeah.
you talking about that.
But it's like, sometimes what energetic people need is literally just to lay on a bed with you standing across the room from them, staring at them intently and erotically.
Yes, please.
And it's like, and it is one of the most like brilliantly erotic experiences for someone who's like super energetic. So when you have people who are more like that, and here's a way that you can test and you can see if you are more energetic, if you and your partner are more or less energetic. Because here's the funny thing about like energetic people, I feel like energetic people often get partnered with people who are like super sexual, like very physical, who like might not have a great concept of what even like erotic energy is. It's like those two people seem to get partnered with each other.
It is so true. That's my hobby.
Yeah, that is my hobby.
So it's so funny because like for him, we can be in the same room and he's totally happy, not looking at me. I mean, I could be in the kitchen, he could be in the bedroom, whatever. Just knowing that I'm present and I'm here, it's enough for him. For me, look into my eyes.
Right.
Touch me. You know, nothing to do with sex, just like this I can't explain it. It's this interaction that happens.
The energy.
The energy that you build together. That's just like you have to be at the sphere, in my sphere, and my presence, and we build on it. So delicious.
Yeah,
well,
He's learning. He's learning.
He is learning, and we talked about this in a couple of episodes of the Pajama Party. I'm kinky, right? I've just started having a partner who's very energetic. So we're coming from different ends of the spectrum, shall we say?
Yeah.
And for me, he wants me to look into his eyes.
Yeah.
And I find that very uncomfortable. right?
Mm-hmm.
Pinky yells at me about it too, right? So it's like, well,
I'm not the only one. Anthony is yelling at you too.
Anthony yells at me about it too.
Good.
But so it's like for me, it's trying to find that common ground to be able
Yeah.
to do that even for the shortest amount of time, because then I'm giving him what he wants and what he needs without totally freaking myself out.
Yeah, totally. Well, so perfect, because now you're on the other end of the spectrum. Yeah, for this one, where it's just like, okay, where can you, and this is, I'm going to give y'all something, because this is a good, like, energetic test, so to speak, but it's also a good energetic game to connect with your energetic person. So what you're going to do is, and also, Ava, if you don't want to, I feel, well, you know what? I'm going to explain the game, and then you're going to tell me if you would feel uncomfortable or comfortable with eye contact during this game.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So the game is that you stand close together, excuse me, and you put your hands up. For those, people can't see me. So when I say put your hands up, I mean your elbows are still at your sides and your palms are out, but the backs of your hands are close to your shoulders. So every single person listening to me right now, I want you to put your elbows in at your sides and then put your hands up. It's like you're saying stop, right? So it's like this stop motion. But what you're going to do is then both of you are going to do this, and you're going to touch hands. And then what you're going to do is you're going to like notice how it feels to touch each other's hands. And I want you to notice it from an energetic perspective. So not like oh, I feel your fingertips touching mine, but like, oh, what's the energy between our hands? And what that might feel like is heat. It might feel like tingling. It might even feel like, when when little kids play that game where it's like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. But they're like, but you can feel them, even though they are quote unquote not touching you, you can still feel them trying to touch your forehead or trying to touch your nose or whatever. That feeling is an energetic touch. Okay. So you're standing there, you're standing with your partner, you have your hands together. This is the part where it's like, if you can keep eye contact, great, because now you're going to start slowly moving away from one another, keeping your palms facing towards one another. And then you're just going to notice what's happening in between your palms. And so you can make it a little bit more fun if you want to. My energetic people, they're already going to be having fun. Okay.
Totally.
But my less, everyone's energetic to a certain degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my less energetic people, here's how it can be fun for you. Okay. I want you to notice when you lose connection. Is it 1 inch away? Is it 1 foot away? Is it 1 meter away? Because I want you to keep playing this game until both of you lose the connection. So if you have a highly energetic person, you might have to leave the room.
Pinky's
in order to lose connection, okay? But like so for example, like let's say, Ava, you and Pinky are playing this game, and so you're standing there together. Let's pretend, that you're playing this game, you're standing there together. Let's say that Ava loses connection after a foot, right? So when Ava loses connection, I want you to imagine since Pinky still feels a connection, I just want you to imagine that you still have a connection. So even though you don't feel it, I just want you to imagine, just be like, just in your brain, just be like, since Pinky still feels a connection, there is still a connection, even though I can't feel it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so just think that the whole time. Just be like, we still have I can't feel the connection anymore, but there's still a connection here because Pinky still feels it.
Sure.
Right? And what this game is going to do, first of all, it's just going to be very silly because it is just so silly to like pretend that there's not even pretend there is energy between you, but like to imagine that there's this energy between you and to back away from one another slowly. It's very much like a Jedi mind trick, you know? And it's super silly and very fun. So the other thing that this is going to do as well is for you, Ava, or the person who's less energetic, to start to shift your mindset to recognize the connection that your partner feels, even when you don't feel it.
Right.
Right? So that's the mindset shift for the less energetic person, is like, oh, my person still feels this energetic connection between me, even though I don't. And so as we're talking about like meeting each other where we're at and like being able to speak to each other's wants, it's also being able to see like, oh, there's some things that my partner wants that aren't tangible for me, but I can still like, but I can still fulfill on that want.
Right.
Even if it's not fully tangible for me.
And I want to fulfill on that
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Now, I would have ended up breaking eye contact about 3 seconds into this exercise because
Okay.
my whole body would be, like, trembling from being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But I can totally respect, them still having that energy and me still engaging with them in a way to allow them to still feel that energy without breaking that or ending that for them.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
I truly believe that it's based on trust. Trusting that you're not going to be dropped. That's how I see it, Ava. For you,
Yeah.
it is all about trusting and knowing that no matter what, this person is going to hold you in their, in their embrace. Either it's just eye contact embrace. For me, it's a full on embrace.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were when you were talking about, Elizabeth, of this aspect of connection, I have one partner. He walks into my living room, and I could be in the bathroom. I would just come out, and our eyes meet, and we just on fire.
Mhm.
We don't have to
Mhm.
touch each other. We
Right.
just feel it.
Right.
And it's different how you were talking about. I didn't know that this aspect exists of different energy, whatever you called me and whatever you called Ava.
Mhm.
It's not less or more. It's just different.
Mhm.
And I totally see how my husband is similar to Ava.
Yep.
Mhm.
They are so tuned in within each other when they do a BDSM or kink kind of a scene.
A scene, yeah.
Yeah, and I see that their energy is there. I don't do that with my husband in terms of BDSM and kink. It's just not my style. I do
Yeah.
feel it when we have it, but it's not a given. Like he's just different,
Right.
and we can still coexist and love each other and be present and being in a relationship and accommodate each other. Like, I would not expect him to walk into the living room and give me what the other partner gives me, because it's a different relationship.
Mhm.
It's a very different energy, and it's totally okay. But
Yeah.
how do you go around like and explain that to people that are not able to understand maybe this form of engagement of like variety? For me is just it's
Yeah.
just brings so much joy into my life. It's like it's like a diamond. I always look at my relationship as a diamond, that it's unshaven and it has all the facets, and each person has its own corner of it, and then the whole thing is just shining. It's like this beautiful sphere of beauty all around.
Oh, I love that. No, that's beautiful. I think to answer your question, like, I mean, first is you can only meet people where they're at. And second is eroticism is a skill. You know, I think that since we don't talk about eroticism, sex, pleasure, and there's also our, and when I say our culture, I kind of mean like Western culture and also American culture specifically. There's this culture of you just have to be good at this stuff, right? You just have to know, you just have to be good at it, you just have to do it. And, you know, eroticism, pleasure, sex, like, this is all a skill that can be learned. Just like you needed to learn how to play tennis, just how you needed to learn how to read, you know, just how, like, even if you already had some sort of innate ability that may have put you ahead of the curve for some other people, right? Like, doesn't mean that that's true for everyone. And it also doesn't mean that there isn't more for you to learn. Like, just because you were really good at swimming right out the gate doesn't mean that you can now go to the Olympics. Like, you need to train for years for that shit, even if you are already good at it. Right. And also, same thing with just like, if you're not good at swimming right away, that doesn't mean that you're doomed to always be terrible at swimming. That just means that you need to practice more. You know, it means that you need to learn about it more. And so, like, in this realm, like, if we compare the world of eroticism to the world of sports, then there's some things that you're going to, first of all, the world of sports is endless as well, right? Sure. Like, there's the world of sports, there's the world market of sports, right? And so there's some things in sports that you're just going to suck at immediately, and you're going to have to work harder at than other people in order to be good at it, right? So, like, in this instance, like, in the energetic realm, Pinky has more of an innate sense of energy. And so she's in the Michael Phelps camp of energy, right?
Yep. She's a gold medalist, yes.
She's a medalist at energy, but that doesn't mean that there isn't still stuff for her to learn.
Oh my God, yes. I've been learning so much.
Right, totally. And it's just like, yeah, like, Ava, like, you're not, like, you're, you know, you showed up to the swim lessons and you were like, I don't know if swimming is for me.
I don't want to take my swimmies off. Yeah.
but you're like, okay, but I have other partners who want me to swim with them. And so I'm going to learn how to get better at swimming. And you can, yep. Right? And like vice versa, right? Where it's just like, you know, Ava, you are the Michael Phelps of, you know, like, bondage.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Pinky, you are not.
No, just keep petting me and that's it. Petting me and right. Kissing me and hugging me. That's all I want.
Right, exactly. And it's like, and if it was something that you wanted to learn more about, you totally could, even though it's not, you know, innately in your wheelhouse. Yeah, right.
Definitely.
And so I think that that's also something to keep in mind. And in this analogy as well, that it's okay to be bad at this shit. Like, you're gonna be bad at it. Like, I have been bad. I love sex and eroticism and all this stuff. And I like learn about it and I teach people about it and all this stuff. And there's still shit that I'm bad at, you know? And like, that's okay. like, it's okay to be bad at things, you know, and you can get better at it too. But like, inside of, you know, asking for what you want to getting what you want, that's also another thing that stops people. Is like, I don't want to be, that's part of the shame of it too. Like, I don't want to be bad at it. I don't want to, like, we're here to like please each other. We're here to please our partners. So like, and it feels so tied to like who we are. There's so much like ego wrapped up in it as well. And so it's also just like, you know, letting your ego down easy a little bit sometimes, and just being like, you know, it's okay. It's okay that we're bad at this. And then have fun, you
Have
know?
fun.
Have
Yeah.
fun, experiment, like,
Don't
get
be hard on
weird,
yourself.
laugh at yourself. Like, when you fuck something up, be like, oh my God, that was so silly. Like,
Sometimes you can have more fun by fucking it up because you're going to laugh about it later.
Yes, definitely.
totally. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. This has been amazing. Can you remind our listeners how they can find you? What's your website, your socials, all that kind of good stuff?
Yes, absolutely. So my website is elizabethannecunningham.com. That's Elizabeth with a Z, Anne without an E, and Cunningham spelt exactly how it sounds. Cunningham, like clever pig.
We'll put that in the show notes. Clever pig.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, and right now, actually, it's really funny that we're talking about like wants and like sharing what you want and like having a hard time sharing what you want. I'm actually offering a course that starts at the beginning of May. It's a 7-week course called How to Have Difficult Conversations. And so I would love to be your coach. So that's also howtohavedifficultcombos.com. And I'm teaching that course with Moed. So most of you might know her. She is the author of Unapologetically on Instagram.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I would love for y'all to be in our course as well. And my Instagram is ELZ Cunningham. There you go.
Awesome.
Right. We're going to put all that.
Yeah, we'll put that all in our show notes. And thank you again so much. We appreciate you taking us down this road of eroticism and pleasure. And for our listeners, go out there and ask what you want.
Yeah.
Pinky?
Don't be afraid. It's okay to ask, and come with an open heart, because I always tell to Ava, when you come raw, open and raw, people feel your energy. I always talk about energy. And they respond to it because they want to meet you somewhere in the middle and find that middle, you know, like Elizabeth was talking about it. Not everything is going to go the way you want to. You might not be tied up all the way you want to, but you can be, have pressure on top of you and restrain that way, you know, if the person cannot do it all the way. But just find that happy medium and explore, have fun.
And don't be afraid to fuck it up. All right. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you so much.
Stay salacious.
Bye, everybody.